Will Prismatic Evolutions be a better investment than 151? Let's talk about it. So the reason why I want to compare these two sets is because they're both from the Scarlet and Violet era, they're both specialty sets, and they're both very popular sets. So they just have a lot in common, and I want to compare these two because I feel like there is somewhat of a debate of whether, Prismatic Evolutions is better than 151 or not. I know there's some very strong opinions with these sets, so me giving my opinion about this might not be the best idea because the comments might go, rampant on me because of my opinion, because I feel like I am sort of in the minority here, but I do want to explain why I believe my opinion to be the way it is. But before I talk about my opinion, I just want to talk about each of these sets a little bit and then talk about the numbers and why my opinion is the way it is. So 151. 151, I feel like is going to just be a nostalgic set because it brought a lot of people back into Pokemon. In the beginning of Scarlet and Violet, a lot of people didn't care for, Scarlet and Violet base. A lot of people just left because of the gray borders, everything like that. Paldea Evolved, people didn't like it. Obsidian Flames, people didn't really like it. And then, 151 came along shortly after that. And then people, I saw the set, brought some people back. It wasn't really crazy at release. I don't know if you guys know that. If you weren't here, it wasn't crazy at release. But as time went on, it did pick up some traction and it just went crazy. And now you're seeing 151 prices, what they're at right now, and you can see Elite Trainer boxes. The set is only a little bit over a year old. Elite Trainer boxes are $175, and this is still in print, and it's only a little bit over a year old. So just as you can see here, with 151, it's just going to be a nostalgic set just because it brought a lot of people back into Pokemon. A lot of people do reside a lot with this set and just what brought them back into Pokemon. I think just for that reasoning, it has that factor for it. It does have the nostalgia factor, and you can see with the pricing too that this is very popular because if you see the past year, it has just continued to go up and really has never had a point where it really stopped. So I think this is already cemented to be a just very, I guess nostalgic set. I think everyone sort of knows that. It's in its name, 151 being the first, generation of Pokemon. So I think 151 does have that going for it. It does have a huge nostalgia factor. But investment wise, let's look at the value. Let's look at the numbers because we can all have our biases and everything talking about nostalgia and all this stuff. But at the end of the day, what really matters is the numbers. And we've seen that through history. All these sets, like Evolving Skies. Why is Evolving Skies expensive? Because of the cards in there. Why is Team Up expensive? Because of the cards in the set. It all goes hand in hand, right? So taking biases out the way and nostalgia, let's look at the numbers. As of right now, 151 Elite Trainer boxes are $175. Now, when you actually look at the set, there is not that much value, guys. I mean, comparing the rest of Scarlet and Violet to 151, 151 is higher up there on the total set value. But when you look at the actual chase cards, this set isn't very strong. I know I sound crazy for saying that. If I speak bad about 151, there's definitely gonna be a huge mass of people saying that I'm wrong just automatically. But guys, there's a lot of sets in Scarlet and Violet that have expensive cards now. Prismatic Evolutions, Surging Sparks, the Pikachu's $500. You have Greninja, what's $300? The Bubble Mew, I don't even know how much that card is, but I believe it is above $300. I could be wrong in that, but I think it is above $300 or something like that. And the Magikarp from Paldea Evolved, just an illustration where I believe is a little bit over $200. So you have all these cards, that are above, the price of the Charizard in 151, right? You have all these different cards. And when you take that into account, that there are a lot of sets that have more expensive cards than this set, it kind of takes away from the set. Like, even though, like I said, you take biases out the way, guys, a $250 card now is not crazily expensive because we have multiple sets that have cards that are more expensive than this. Even the Latios from Surging Sparks is as expensive as Charizard, and Charizard is the main chase here because, guys, look, other than the Charizard, right? What's the most expensive card next? It's less than $100. It's Blastoise. Then the Venusaur, about the same price. And then it quickly goes down. So you can see there's only one card above $100 in the set. And Elite Trainer boxes are $175. So this is when I say Prismatic Evolutions, in my opinion, is really cheap. This is what I'm talking about because I understand, 151 It's a little bit over a year old. It's had time to grow, yes, but guys, if you really look at this set, yeah, it has that nostalgia factor, but unless these card prices really do start going up, I feel like 151 at some point here soon is going to hit up. It has to hit a plateau because Elite Trainer boxes being $175 and the most expensive card being $250 and the next most expensive is not even $100. It doesn't make a lot of sense investment wise. So especially right now, investing into 151 Elite Trainer boxes, I think is not a very good idea because if you look at set value in the price of Elite Trainer boxes, it doesn't make like any sense at all. But 151 will always have this nostalgia factor because it brought a lot of people back into Pokemon. I'll give it that, and it's still a good set. I'm not saying it's a bad set just because it doesn't have multiple $100 cards. I'm not saying it's a bad set. I think the artworks are good, but it just investment wise, we're talking about value here because that really matters at the end of the day. And taking biases out the way that's being called 151 value wise, it's not that expensive. So it's a good set, but I feel like somewhat it's a little bit overpriced product wise because, like I said, value, it's not really here. And when you now take a look at Prismatic Evolutions, I'll get to the numbers, but let's talk about nostalgia because I talked about nostalgia first with 151. Prismatic Evolutions, I don't think it's going to have the same nostalgia that 151 is going to have because 151 has the nostalgia of people that got into Pokemon because of that set. I feel like Prismatic does have that somewhat where people did get into Pokemon because of this set because it's an Eevee set. But other than, just that, like, guys, this is going to be a nostalgic set for a different reason. Not because it's a throwback to first gen, stuff. This is going to be nostalgic because of when it came out. It came out in a very hype period. It came out in a time where people were lining up at doors, staying, setting up tents outside of all these stores to get this product, lining up, all this craze, all this hype, everything. This time this product came out at in this market, it's going to be nostalgic for that reason. And obviously, it's also an Eevee set. I bet it brought a lot of people back into Pokemon 2. I don't think as much as 151, but definitely that is also another factor. But I think the nostalgia for this set is definitely going to be the craze of the time that this came out. And I think it has that going for it. Because when you think about, Scarlet and Violet, when we're on to the next era, you're probably going to be thinking about a few sets. You're probably going to be thinking about 151, Surging Sparks, Prismatic Evolutions, and obviously there's some other sets coming in the future that might, be very talked about as well. But I think Prismatic Evolutions is going to have that somewhat nostalgia factor because of the craziness that everybody experienced. All, pre-orders being canceled and all this craziness with stores, like, canceling people's orders and relisting them. All this craziness, I think is going to be nostalgic for the set. Now, getting, past the nostalgia part, I want to talk about the numbers. Because, I've been sort of criticized sometimes for saying this, but I think Prismatic Evolutions is cheap. Now, when I say cheap, it's relative, and people don't understand that. I get this is a new set, and people don't have this idea that new sets can't be expensive. But this set has so much value. Guys, if you want to talk about overvalued and overpriced, you should be saying that about 151. Guys, this is still in print. Yes, it's over a year old. It's still in print. This is $175. And where's the value at in this set? It's not there. Prismatic, yes, it's a brand new set. It's what, now $110 in Elite Trainer box? But look at the value. It at one point was 10 grand. It has, dipped down. I mean, it's not surprising. I wasn't expecting to stay there. But guys, $8,000 in total set value. That's more than Evolving Skies. And people calling Prismatic Evolutions overpriced at 110 is crazy to me. Guys, this has a $1,500 chase card. Look at 151. Are we being for real right now? If we're looking at raw numbers, guys, investment wise and saying which one's a better set, in my opinion, there's no competition. When you look at 151, look at the value. Look at Prismatic. Is there really competition? I understand there's a lot of nostalgia, a lot of people that are biased with 151 because it's the first gen, it's 151, it's all this stuff because it's 151. But when you look at raw numbers and you consider what's a better set investment wise, Guys, it has to be Prismatic. I know a lot of people are going to disagree because people say, I hate the crowns. 151 doesn't have crowns and everything. But we're talking about investment, not biases. We're not talking about opinions here. Even if Prismatic continues to go down in price with the cards, which I think is possible, guys, if this even halves in price from what it's at now, it's still going to be triple the value of 151. So when you just look at raw numbers, Prismatic Evolutions is a better, in my, obviously my opinion, but I'm kind of using facts here. It's a better investment and a better set than 151. And like I said, I know a lot of people have biases with 151. A lot of people say it's the best set of all time, best set in Scarlet and Violet, whatever. But I'm talking about investing here of what is the best set. I'm talking about value. And when we see long term what products go up in value and why they go up value, it's because of set value. It's because of the chases. Guys, this has a $1,500 chase card. Like, I want to really emphasize that. If 151 had, $1,000 chase card, you could be debating. But I feel like this really isn't a debate. And I see people doing it, and that's why I want to make this video. I feel like it really shouldn't be. But I think there is a debate because of just personal biases with sets. But, like, look at the value. Like, seriously, 151, yeah, it has some cool artworks or whatever. But it doesn't have Prismatic Evolutions value. Like, seriously. And like I said, this could have in value, and it would still be triple as expensive as 151. And obviously, saying that's going to have is probably not going to happen. And that's my point. It's like, this set value is crazy. And that's why just, it's just, I want to say, I want to say opinion to, be sort of, I guess, have some sort of, neutral ground here. But it's factual, I feel like, where's the debate of how 151 is going to be a better investment than Prismatic if Prismatic's, total set value, chase cards, are way more than 151. Like, I just don't see how Prismatic Evolutions could be a worse investment than 151, because I feel like at this point, if you're going to argue that 151 is a better investment or just a better set long term than Prismatic, you're just basing off of nostalgia, and that's it. You don't, because you can't base it off of numbers with 151, because it's not right. You can't say 151 at its current price point and total value cards makes sense and that it's a better investment than Prismatic. It does, like, you cannot win with that argument. So the only thing where people are going to say that I'm wrong or whatever is because of their personal biases with this set, and there's a nostalgia factor, because that's all you have going for it. Because at the end of the day, total set value, top chase cards, that's really what matters and what creates products that are either going to be very expensive or not be. And that's just simply it. It's just how it works. So that's the end of this video. I just want to compare these two sets. I know I'm probably going to get a lot of heat for saying this, but I'm basing it off of numbers. That's all. And even nostalgia, I feel like I said, Prismatic is going to have its own nostalgia itself. So I just don't see how people are going to argue that 151 is a better set investment wise. It's all opinionated. Obviously, if you don't like crowns and stuff, you might say 151 is a way better set. Sure, but like I said, I'm talking about investing here. I'm talking about, just the numbers, not your opinion. I'm talking about what really happens and why things happen with, products and why things go up. It's because of set value, chase cards. Prismatic beats 151. It blows it out the water. It is what it is. So that's the end of this video. Hope you guys enjoyed. Let me know down in the comments what your opinions on this. Comment, whatever you're about to say. If you're going to argue against me, comment 151 or, Prismatic. Maybe comment Team 151 or Team Prismatic Evolutions for what you think is going to be a better investment long term. Because these are all relatively new sets. 1 year old set, not that old. Obviously, a couple week old set, not that old. So, long term, what do you think is going to perform better? 151 or Prismatic Evolutions? Let me know. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.